It's good to see you today. It is February 25th. We are finishing up, it looks like, the book of Leviticus today. We are in Leviticus chapter 25, about halfway through. This is where we left off in our previous study in Leviticus 25, verse 23, as it speaks about the redemption of property, that the land would not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, the Lord says, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. Even in the promised land, and in all the land of your possession, you shall grant redemption of the land. So it goes through and it talks about that, referencing the year of Jubilee throughout it. But anyway, the picture of redemption that was happening. You have a kindness for those who are impoverished as well. Laws given about them and about redemption, who could redeem, prices for redemption, such things as that. Then in chapter 26, we have what we're going to be thinking about today. We have the blessings for obedience, as the Lord says. Verse 3, if you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its produce. So you have the blessings for obedience, and then you have the punishment for disobedience. But if you do not obey me and do not observe all these commandments, if you despise my statutes, then the Lord would appoint terror over them, in verse 16. And then it speaks about, but if verse 40, if they confess their iniquity, the Lord is merciful. So we're going to look at this chapter and make just a few simple points today. Appreciate you joining me. One is this: the outcome was up to them. And the Lord says, if you do what I tell you to do, I'm going to bless you. I will be with you. If you disobey what I tell you to do, then you're going to be cursed. And I would suggest it is that way with us as well. We're not talking about the health and wealth gospel, but the Lord does talk about when we come to Him, and as He was speaking in the Gospels, and He says, in this time they will find mothers and fathers, they will find, and it's talking about the church, it's talking about the kingdom, frankly, and it's talking about the fellowship that we have with the Lord and with His people, and what a blessing that is. And this is how it's still, so in that, those are the blessings that we find. That as we obey the Lord, as we come to Him, as we learn from Him, as we follow Him, and we are blessed. We are blessed in the blessings that are found within His kingdom, as we enjoy our daily bread. But it's not just physical, it's now spiritual, and we're spiritually nourished. As our outward man is perishing, our inner man is being renewed day by day. We have that blessing in the Lord. All of a sudden, the solitary find themselves in families, brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, all within the church, more than we could ever hope to have from an earthly family. But the outcome is up to us. If we will follow the Lord and learn from Him and apply what He teaches, then we will find blessings. Blessings in the here and now, blessings eternally. But if we do not obey, if we kick against the goads, if we try to play the hypocrite, if we're hearers but we're not doers, we're always going to have trouble. It's like cleansing the outside of the dish, but not the inside, and then trying to use it to drink or eat out of. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And we find ourselves outside of the Lord's blessings. But the outcome, in a sense, is up to us, just as it was up to Israel. The Lord says, if you follow me, you'll be blessed. If you disobey me, it's going to go badly. I wonder if part of our reading today, I wonder if part of it is not prophetic, to look back at it. And it doesn't just come out and say it, but we know what's going to happen, frankly. And to just look at for example, verse 33. I will scatter you among the nations. This was if they disobeyed. I will lay your cities waste. Is that going to happen? That's going to happen. I will bring your sanctuaries to desolation. I will bring the land to desolation, and your enemies who dwell in it shall be astonished at it. I will scatter you among the nations, and draw out a sword after you. Your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then the land shall enjoy its Sabbaths, as long as it lies desolate, and you are in your enemy's land. There, to an extent, the Lord is saying the outcome is up to you, but at the same time, all I know is this, and it's the question is it prophecy, or is it simply the Lord said this is going to happen? How prophetic in nature is this? All I know is the outcome was prophesied in here and elsewhere, because this is exactly what did happen. As the kingdom is going to split, and as the kingdom is divided, and as, whether we're talking about the northern or the southern kingdom, as eventually they would go towards paganism, and there would be less and less righteousness in the land, and eventually both parties, both the northern and the southern kingdom, are going off to captivity, and the land would enjoy its Sabbaths. So the outcome was up to them, but the Lord knew what was going to happen. And I think that is the nature somewhat of prophecy, or that's the nature of the Lord's will. When God put man in the garden, did God know that man was going to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? The Lord knew it was going to happen. Otherwise, how does it make sense that Jesus is the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world? Jesus is not plan B. Jesus has always been the plan, because God knew what man was going to do. Now, was the outcome up, in a sense, was the outcome up to Adam and Eve? Was it still their choice? It was still their choice. But the outcome was prophesied. But we do see, towards the end there, we see the mercy of God. There in verse 40, but if they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their unfaithfulness, in which they were unfaithful to me, and that they also have walked contrary to me. And as it goes on, then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham. I will remember the land. Verse 44, yet for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor shall I abhor them, to utterly destroy them, and break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. But for their sake I will remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. And they would eventually come out of captivity. Even as they were scattered among the nations, eventually they would come out of captivity, and they would come back to Israel. And as they came back to Israel, we know what they had to do. And it was more than just rebuilding the temple. And it was more than just building walls. It was preparing for the Messiah. The Messiah was not going to be born in Babylon. The Messiah was going to be born in Bethlehem. So the Lord says, I'm remembering the covenant. I will remember the covenant. And as the land enjoyed her Sabbaths, the Lord will bring the people back as they would prepare for the one who is to come, because God is merciful. We come to Him. We come to Him. And in a sense, the outcome is up to us. We can choose. We can choose, just the same as Joshua could choose. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. You want to serve the Lord, or you want to serve yourself? You want to serve the Lord, or you want to serve the world? You want to serve yourself, or you want to serve some false religion? It's your choice. The outcome is not your choice, but it's up to you. The Lord's going to tell you. The Lord's telling you, though, this is going to be the outcome. So in that sense, it's prophesied. If we follow Him, we know where we're headed. If we disobey Him, then we know where we're headed. The Lord is merciful, so we come to Him. Hope everything is going well for your day. Appreciate you following along with us. Hope you have a good day. We hope you join us for our next study. Thanks for being with us.